Life is free of suffering. When the mind is at peace, Buddha teaches how to not be ashamed of one's heart, to live peacefully. Life is suffering. These were the first words of truth the Buddha spoke after enlightenment. At first hearing, many might feel that such a statement sounds pessimistic. But in reality, this is not a lament about life nor a complaint about fate. It is a profound observation born from deep insight into the nature of existence. For the Buddha, to recognize suffering is not to give up, but to begin to awaken. 1. Understanding suffering in the Four Noble Truths. According to the Buddha, life inherently contains dukkha, a Sanskrit word that means more than just pain. It includes dissatisfaction, restlessness, incompleteness, the subtle feeling that no matter how much we achieve, something still feels missing. Birth is suffering, aging is suffering, sickness is suffering, death is suffering. Parting from what we love brings suffering. Clinging to what we dislike brings suffering. Even the act of craving itself, the endless pursuit of wanting, carries its own silent weight of sorrow. But the Buddha did not stop at the recognition of suffering. He also revealed the cause: attachment, craving, and ignorance. He showed the path, the Eightfold Noble Path. And most importantly, he affirmed that suffering can end through the transformation of the mind. When the mind is awakened, when one sees through the illusions of gain and loss, right and wrong, life and death, then suffering loses its power. It becomes a teacher, not an enemy. 2. Why humans suffer: desire, anger, and delusion. In Buddhism, all suffering arises from the three poisons: greed, hatred, and ignorance. Tham, San, Si. These are not external enemies, but inner fires burning within our own hearts. We suffer because we desire too much, always wanting life to be as we wish. We suffer because we cling, unable to let go of people, possessions, or past pains. We suffer because we do not understand, mistaking impermanence for permanence, mistaking the fleeting for the eternal. The Buddha once said, "The mind is like a monkey, always jumping from branch to branch. Only when it stops leaping can it see clearly the reflection of the moon in the water." When our mind keeps chasing after desires, we lose the ability to see life as it is. We project onto it what we want to see, and when reality disagrees, we feel pain. That pain does not come from life, it comes from resistance. 3. The Buddha's awakening beneath the Bodhi tree. Siddhartha Gautama, before becoming the Buddha, was a prince who had everything. But he saw with his own eyes that wealth could not save people from aging, sickness, and death. He left the palace, practiced asceticism, and after long years of struggle, he sat beneath the Bodhi tree with one great vow: "I will not rise from this seat until I see the truth." After 49 days of meditation, as the morning star rose, he awakened. He saw that suffering exists, but it is not eternal. It arises and ceases according to causes and conditions. He understood that liberation is not a place, but a state of mind, a peace that no external power can grant and no worldly loss can take away. From that moment, he became the awakened one, Buddha, meaning one who has awakened to reality. 4. Suffering is not the enemy, but the teacher. Many people spend their lives running away from pain, but the Buddha teaches that it is only by looking deeply into suffering that one can be free from it. Pain, when seen with mindfulness, transforms into wisdom. It teaches us impermanence, compassion, and humility. It reminds us that all beings struggle, and therefore all deserve understanding. Without mud, there is no lotus. The lotus flower grows from muddy water, yet remains pure and fragrant. Likewise, without the mud of suffering, we would never grow the lotus of awakening. When the heart no longer fights against pain, but embraces it with awareness, that very moment marks the birth of peace. We realize It is not suffering that binds us, it is our unwillingness to see through it. 5. The lesson. No one makes us suffer. Only an unpeaceful mind, does the Buddha once said. No one can harm you as much as your own unguarded mind. It is not others who make us miserable, but our reaction to them. When the mind is filled with anger, even a kind word feels like an insult. When the mind is filled with peace, even harsh words cannot hurt us. A calm mind is like a clear lake. It reflects everything, yet remains undisturbed. An agitated mind is like a stormy sea. Even the moon's reflection shatters. Peace, therefore, is not found by changing the world outside, but by transforming the world within. As the Buddha taught, better than conquering 1,000 men in battle is to conquer one's own mind. When we calm the mind, when we return to the stillness within, life begins to soften. The same pain that once crushed us now becomes a teacher. The same storm that frightened us now becomes a song. And we begin to see the truth behind the teaching. Part 2. What is a peaceful mind? The Buddha's teaching on serenity in every breath. Peace is not the absence of sound or chaos. It is the stillness that remains unshaken amidst them. The Buddha never promised a life without challenges. He offered something far greater, the ability to remain calm within every challenge. When the world outside is in turmoil, but your heart stays quiet, that is peace. When things do not go as you wish, yet you can still smile gently, that is peace. Peace is not found in another place or after achieving something. It begins right here, within this very breath. 1. What is Taman, the peaceful mind? In Buddhism, the peaceful mind does not mean a blank or empty state. It means a mind clear, balanced and awake, not dragged around by emotions, not drowned in desires. When you are at peace, you still feel joy and sadness, but you are not possessed by them. You can see happiness come and go without clinging, and you can see pain arise and fade without resisting. The Buddha compared such a mind to a mirror. When dust settles on it, it cannot reflect clearly, but when it is clean, it shows everything as it is. Our thoughts, attachments, and judgments are the dust. Meditation and mindfulness are the gentle cloths that wipe it away. 2. The roots of an unpeaceful mind. Why is the human heart often restless, anxious, and heavy? Because it is constantly chasing, comparing, fearing, and regretting. We are anxious about the future, we regret the past, and we forget to live fully in the present. We compare our lives to others, we fear losing what we have, and we crave for what we do not. The Buddha said, "There is no fire like desire, no grip like hatred, no net like delusion." It is these fires that burn the forest of our mind. When we crave too much, we lose peace. When we cling too tight, we lose freedom. When we misunderstand, we lose compassion. 3. The Buddha's teaching on mindfulness of breathing, anapanasati. The Buddha taught that peace begins with a single breath. In the Anapanasati Sutta, discourse on mindfulness of breathing, he instructed, breathing in, I know I'm breathing in. Breathing out, I know I'm breathing out. Simple as it sounds, this practice is the doorway to awakening. Because when you are aware of your breath, you return home to yourself. You stop being lost in thoughts, in plans, in worries. The breath anchors you in the present, the only place where life truly happens. When you breathe mindfully, your breath becomes gentle, your body relaxes, and your mind calms naturally. You no longer fight with thoughts, you simply watch them come and go. Like clouds drifting across the sky, they appear, they fade, and the sky remains vast and clear. The Buddha said, in one mindful breath, one can see the nature of life, arising and passing, beginning and ending. To see that is to be free. 4. The story of the monk in the marketplace. There once was a monk who lived not in a quiet mountain, but in the middle of a noisy market. Every day he meditated amidst the cries of merchants, the chatter of buyers. and the sounds of carts. When asked how he could meditate in such chaos, he smiled and said, "The market is loud outside, but within me there is silence." He explained, "Silence is not found by escaping the world. It is found by returning to the stillness inside. Even among the noise, I can listen to the silence between sounds." This story shows that peace does not depend on surroundings. It depends on awareness. If you are mindful, the marketplace becomes a monastery. If you are distracted, even a mountain retreat becomes noisy. 5. Daily practices for cultivating inner peace. Peaceful living is not built in one day. It grows slowly, like a tree, watered each day with awareness and compassion. The Buddha offered many simple yet profound ways to nurture calmness. 1. Mindful breathing. Whenever you feel stressed, stop and take 3 slow breaths. Feel each inhale and exhale as a wave returning to the shore. Remind yourself, this moment is enough. 2. Mindful walking. Walk as if each step kisses the earth. With every step, say silently, "Arriving home." You will feel the world slowing down with you. 3. Mindful eating. Eat slowly, with gratitude. Recognize that each grain of rice carries sunshine, rain, and the effort of many beings. 4. Mindful listening. Listen not to reply but to understand. When you listen deeply, compassion naturally arises. 5. Mindful speaking. Speak words that bring comfort and clarity, not confusion or harm. As the Buddha said, "Better than 1,000 useless words is one word that brings peace." These simple practices help us live awake in each moment, and the more awake we are, the more peace arises naturally. 6. The heart of serenity. A peaceful mind is not something you gain, it is something you uncover. It has always been there, hidden beneath layers of fear, desire, and illusion. When you let go of what clouds the mind, peace shines on its own. It is like the sun behind the clouds, never gone, only unseen. The Buddha said, "Within this very body, a bright, radiant mind can be found. It is only obscured by passing defilements." So peace is not a reward to be earned. It is our true nature waiting to be remembered. And when we remember it, we return home to ourselves, calm, whole, free. Part 3. Living without shame. The path of the awakened heart. There is a peace deeper than comfort, a happiness purer than pleasure. It is the peace that comes from living without shame before your own heart. The Buddha once said, "The greatest victory is to conquer yourself, to live without guilt, without deceit, without fear." When we act in harmony with truth and compassion, the mind rests naturally. But when our actions contradict what we know is right, the heart becomes restless. Thus, peace is not something given from outside. It is the fruit of inner integrity. 1. What does it mean to live without shame? To live without shame means to live with a clear conscience. To be true, honest, and kind in thought, word, and deed. It is not about being perfect, but about being sincere, daring to face yourself, to acknowledge mistakes, and to walk forward with awareness. The Buddha taught, "As the lotus grows from the mud yet remains unstained, so too should one live in the world yet remain undefiled." Living in the world, we cannot avoid noise, temptation, or confusion, but we can choose not to let them rule our hearts. When you act from kindness, even if others misunderstand, you still sleep peacefully. When your words and actions align with compassion, your mind stays light like a clear sky. 2. A pure mind creates a pure world. The Buddha said, "Tum tin ti kan tin." When the mind is pure, the world is pure. What we see outside is often a reflection of what lies within. If our heart is troubled, even beauty looks distorted. If our heart is calm, even hardship has its quiet grace. Imagine 2 people standing before the same storm. One curses the wind, the other marvels at its strength. The storm is the same. the difference lies in the heart. To live without shame is to purify the mind, to look at life not through anger or greed, but through understanding. That purity transforms not only us but everything we touch. 3. The parable of the beggar and the hidden jewel. There is a Buddhist story that speaks to this truth. Once, a poor beggar spent his life wandering the streets, hungry and cold. One day, a kind traveler gave him a drink and sewed a precious jewel into the lining of his ragged coat, without telling him. Years passed. The beggar still lived in misery, unaware that he carried great wealth on his body all along. The Buddha said we are like that beggar. Within each of us lies a priceless jewel, the radiant mind, pure and free. But blinded by craving and fear, we wander through life unaware of our own treasure. To live without shame is to rediscover that inner jewel, to remember that goodness, compassion, and wisdom have always been within us. 4. Keeping a clear heart in a turbulent world. The world today moves fast, full of distractions, competition, and noise. It's easy to lose ourselves in the chase for wealth, status, or approval. Yet every time we act against our conscience, a small part of peace slips away. How then do we keep our hearts clear amid the world's turmoil? The Buddha offered simple, timeless guidance. 1. Do good deeds without expectation. Do not seek recognition or reward. The joy of doing good is itself the reward. As the Buddha said, just as a candle loses nothing by lighting another, one who shares kindness loses nothing but gains peace. 2. Speak truthfully and gently. Words can heal or harm. Speak what is true, useful, and kind. Otherwise, silence is better. 3. Avoid harmful actions. Every action leaves a trace on the heart. When we act with greed or anger, the heart becomes heavy. When we act with compassion, it becomes light. 4. Cultivate mindfulness in all things. Before you speak, pause. Before you act, breathe. Awareness is the bridge between impulse and wisdom. 5. Forgive yourself and others. To live without shame does not mean to never err, but to learn, to forgive, to let go. Guilt binds, forgiveness frees. 5. The awakened way, living truthfully. The Buddha did not teach morality as a set of rigid rules. He taught it as a path to freedom. When you live truthfully, you no longer need to hide. When you act with compassion, you no longer fear judgment. When you live in awareness, you no longer wander lost. An awakened person does not measure success by wealth or praise, but by the peace of their own heart. They do not seek to appear good. They simply are good, naturally, like a flower spreading fragrance without effort. Virtue is its own reward. The Buddha said, it is like a shadow that follows you wherever you go. 6. The gentle strength of an honest heart. To live without shame requires courage, the courage to be honest in a world of mass, to be kind in a world of competition, to stay humble in a world of pride. Yet this courage is not loud or dramatic. It is soft, steady, like a candle burning quietly through the night. It is the strength of one who can say, at the end of each day, I have hurt no one, deceived no one, and my heart is at peace. When you live this way, the world no longer controls you. You no longer chase validation or fear rejection. You are free, simply because you have nothing to hide. Part 4. Amid life's turmoil, how to keep the mind at peace. Life is like a river, always flowing. Sometimes the waters are clear and calm, sometimes turbulent and stormy. A person who knows how to keep a peaceful mind is not someone who avoids the storm. They are the one who stands firm even in the midst of it. The Buddha said, you cannot find peace in a noisy world if your mind is noisier than the world itself. Peace of mind is not the absence of suffering, but the ability to smile, even amidst it. Iwar 1. Peace is not found in silence, but in a still heart. Many think, I must retreat to a monastery or climb a mountain to find peace. But the Buddha never taught escape. He taught peace in the midst of life, for that is true freedom. One who is unshaken in the marketplace is the true practitioner. Storms do not arise from the outside, they arise from the mind. When the mind is calm, even the fiercest storms cannot disturb it. 2. Mindfulness, the key to peace. The Buddha said, "Live fully in the present moment, for it is the only place you truly have." Mindfulness is being aware of what you are doing, thinking, and feeling, without being pulled into the past or future. When you eat, be aware of eating. When you walk, be aware of walking. When you breathe, be aware of each inhalation and exhalation. Even this simple awareness calms the mind naturally. A mindful person is not easily swayed by praise or blame because they always return to themselves. 3. Letting go of excessive expectations. Much suffering arises from wanting too much. We want love, recognition, success, perfection. And when life does not meet our expectations, we suffer. The Buddha said, "The root of suffering is craving." This does not mean we must abandon all aspirations, but we should know when enough is enough and not tie our happiness to others. The wise do not expect life to go their way. They learn to flow with circumstances. This is inner freedom, a peace no one can take away. 4. Transforming anger. The path to serenity. Anger is like fire that burns both the mind and body. The Buddha said, "Holding anger is like grasping a hot coal with the intent of throwing it at someone else. You are the one who gets burned first." To keep the mind at peace, one must release anger, not by suppressing it, but by understanding and cultivating compassion. When you see that others also suffer, anger naturally softens. 1 minute of patience is 1 minute of liberation for yourself. 5. Speak kindly. Lighten the mind. Speaking ill of others, intentionally or not, burdens the heart. The Buddha said, "Words can wound deeper than a sword." A peaceful person speaks words that heal. They do not add fire to anger or sow discord. They know, when words are kind, the mind is kind. When words are cruel, the mind suffers. Each gentle word is like planting a flower of serenity in the heart. 6. Practice letting go. Letting go does not mean giving up. It means not allowing things beyond your control to dominate your peace. Let go of the past. It is gone. Let go of the future. It is not yet here. Let go of those who have harmed you, for they too are lost. The Buddha said, "When you know contentment, you are the richest. When you know how to let go, you are the freest." Letting go frees the mind without loss, because everything in life is transient, arising and passing naturally. 7. Silence. Listening to the heart. In a noisy world, silence is a practice of meditation. Not silence out of fear, but silence to observe and understand. The Buddha said, "When the mouth is still, the mind becomes bright." Silence allows us to respond wisely and to hear the subtle voice of our heart. In stillness, we remember. Peace has always been within us. We only forgot. 8. Gratitude, the shortest path to peace. A grateful heart is a heart that no longer feels lacking. Gratitude can be found in the smallest things: the morning sun, a simple meal, a kind smile. The Buddha said, "Those who are grateful are noble. Those who are ungrateful remain poor, even if wealthy." Gratitude fills the heart, leaving no room for complaint, envy, or resentment. 9. Compassion and forgiveness. Forgiveness is not for others. but for yourself. The Buddha said, "Holding on to anger is like drinking poison and expecting someone else to die. By forgiving, we free our own hearts." A compassionate person is not weak. They are strong enough to let go of revenge. 10. The farmer and the donkey. A donkey fell into a dry well. The farmer thought it was hopeless and began shoveling dirt to bury it. But the donkey did not resist. It shook off the dirt and stepped on it, gradually rising above the pit. Life is the same. We cannot avoid difficulties, but we can choose to respond calmly and turn obstacles into a stepping stone. 11. Returning to the breath amid chaos. The breath is the thread connecting body and mind. When breathing slows, the mind settles. When breathing is fast, the mind races. The Buddha said, "Mindful breathing is the gateway to peace. Just inhale, aware of the breath. Just exhale, aware of the breath. No extra thoughts. Storms of the mind dissolve naturally, like clouds drifting across a blue sky." 12. Connecting with nature. Nature is a silent teacher. Trees do not compete. Rivers do not fight. Everything exists in harmony. When tired, step outside. Watch clouds, listen to birds, and remember, the Buddha smiles in the quiet of nature. Watch a flower bloom and learn how to bloom within. And 13. Know yourself. You are not your wealth, status, or social role. You are a mind capable of love, understanding, and clarity. The Buddha said, "No one can take your peace away unless you give it." Knowing yourself, you stop chasing illusions, stop clinging to outcomes, and the mind naturally rests, like a lotus floating above muddy water, alive and untouched. 40. Conclusion of Part 4. Keeping the mind at peace in a noisy world is not easy, but it is entirely possible if we return to our own inner home. We do not need to leave the city, the office, or the market. We only need to be mindful in each breath, gentle in each word, and sincere in each action. Peace is not a place we arrive at, but the way we walk through life. Part 5. Practicing the Buddha's teachings. Building a life of inner peace. Life is short, like a single breath. If we do not return to live with a peaceful mind, we will endlessly chase illusions of suffering, pleasure, gain, and loss. The Buddha said, "No one can save you but yourself. Light your own lamp and walk." Peace does not come from outside. It is the result of daily practice, like water flowing becomes clear, or the mind settling becomes bright. 1. Start small. Practice mindfulness. Every day, the Buddha taught, a journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. To cultivate peace, do not wait for free time, old age, or a monastery. Begin today with simple actions. Upon waking, place hands together and say, "I am grateful for a new day." While eating, be aware of the taste and effort of those who prepared the meal. When speaking, choose words that do not harm. While walking, notice every step with attention. Small moments of mindfulness daily accumulate into a mountain of inner peace. 2. Practice mindful breathing. The root of calm breath is the simplest and deepest form of meditation. The Buddha taught Ananda, "Return to the breath, for there lies the Buddha." How to practice? Sit straight, relax shoulders, eyes gently closed. Inhale, knowing you are inhaling. Exhale, knowing you are exhaling. Observe without forcing or judging. At first, the mind will wander. Do not scold or push it. Simply smile at the thoughts as clouds passing in the sky. Practicing 10-15 minutes daily clears the mind, relaxes the body, and peace naturally arises like a blooming flower. 3. Contemplate impermanence. Let go of attachment. The Buddha said, all conditioned things are impermanent. Everything, our body, wealth, reputation, relationships, comes and goes like clouds across the sky. When we truly see impermanence, we no longer cling to gain or loss, right or wrong. When facing hardship, remind yourself, this too shall pass. When joyful, remind yourself, this is not permanent. Understanding this, we learn to cherish the present moment without fear. 4. Practice compassion. Open your heart. Compassion is not just words, it is living to relieve the suffering of others. The Buddha said, those who sow compassion harvest peace. Every day we can practice. Smile at a stranger. Help others within our ability. Forgive small mistakes of loved ones. Wish well even for those we dislike. Every small act of compassion washes a layer of suffering from the heart. 5. Practice letting go. Lighten the heart. Letting go does not mean denying or giving up. It means not allowing external things to control your mind. Let go of excessive expectations. Let go of past regrets. Let go of long-held anger. The Buddha said, letting go is the path of wisdom. Whenever the mind becomes heavy, ask, is this worth losing my peace? If not, smile and release it. 6. Practice gratitude. The seed of happiness. Gratitude is one of the deepest practices of peace. When we are grateful, there is no room for resentment or envy. The Buddha said, even the poor who are grateful are rich. The ungrateful, even the wealthy, are poor. Daily, note 3 things to be grateful for. Someone who helped you. A small thing that brought a smile. A challenge that taught you something. Gratitude naturally softens the heart. 7. Practice joy and release. Smile at change. Joy and release, happiness in others' happiness and letting go, is the antidote to clinging. The Buddha said, those who rejoice and let go are not shaken by life. One who practices joy understands. Everyone has their own karma. Everything arises and passes due to causes. Nothing is worth clinging to forever. With joy and release, the heart becomes lighter and happiness radiates naturally. Heart 8. Repentance. Heal the conscience. Everyone makes mistakes, but the Buddha taught that sincere repentance frees heavy karma. Repentance is not self-punishment, but acknowledging wrongdoing, understanding it, and resolving not to repeat it. Stand in front of the Buddha or your own conscience and say, I have done wrong. I will learn to live more truthfully and kindly. Each act of repentance brightens the mind and lightens the heart. 9. Observing precepts, the foundation of peace. The Buddha said, precepts are the teacher of all things. Keeping precepts prevents us from creating unwholesome karma, and the mind naturally rests in peace. Observing precepts is not forced. It is a guiding light for those who wish to live pure. 10. Meditation. See deeply to understand and love. Meditation is not merely sitting still. It is looking deeply into the nature of all things. Observe the body. See impermanence. Observe the mind. See its constant change. Observe phenomena. See interdependence. When we see deeply, ego dissolves, and only love and peace remain. 11. Practicing good deeds, nurturing the mind. The Buddha said, those who do good, like seeds on fertile soil, will bloom fragrant flowers and sweet fruits. No act of kindness is too small. When done sincerely, it nourishes peace within the heart. 12. Harmonizing body, speech, and mind. To maintain lasting peace, cultivate the 3 wholesome actions. Body, act without harm. Speech, speak truthfully, kindly, and wisely. Mind, cultivate non-greed, non-anger, and clarity. The Buddha said, when the three actions are pure, this life and the next are peaceful. Daily reflection on body, speech, and mind leads to a light and gentle mind, closer to awakening. 13. Learning to live slowly, hear life's whisper. Living slowly is not laziness, it is slowing down enough to notice life itself. Slow down to see the flower bloom. Slow down to hear your child's heart. Slow down to notice those you love. The Buddha said, those who walk slowly yet mindfully reach their destination sooner than those who rush and are lost. 14. Daily practice, gradually bringing peace. Do not expect peace to arrive overnight. Peace is the fruit of each mindful action, like a lamp lit with many small drops of oil. The Buddha said, practice is not to become a Buddha, but to reduce suffering, mistakes, anger, and worry each day. Then the mind naturally rests, the body feels light, and life, even in chaos, feels gentle, like the evening sun.